Hey everybody, Comic Crack. A different video today. Had a couple of music things I wanted to briefly share with you. Running with Comics will love this video. Some vinyl love here. Yesterday, a friend of mine put on this little record show at this spot downtown that I went to check out, and picked up a couple of records there. Previous to that, though, a couple of months ago, I managed to find a repress of a soundtrack. Not a repress, actually. I think it's the first time it's been available in any sort of form. If you've been following my videos, you know that I'm a huge fan of Saul Bass's Phase 4, basically about ants taking over the world. So apparently this was never available on vinyl before, or in any format before, so there was a limited pressing of this sucker. And there's a little look at the gatefold there. And in this side is a fantastic little book with a bit of information about Saul Bass and the movie and the soundtrack itself, mostly about the soundtrack, obviously, which is kind of electronic music mixed with library music, mixed with, I don't know, kind of fuzz guitar and that sort of thing. It's pretty fantastic. It's a pretty great soundtrack overall. And then this side is the record itself that's on some beautiful yellow vinyl there, which is pretty sweet. Yeah, I mean, it's a great soundtrack. I love this movie. So happy to have that. And then from yesterday, like I said, my buddy put on this little record show. These were 3 records I picked up from him. There was other people there that had some great things as well. But this guy, Crab Skull is what he goes under as far as when he records music and things. He's a real digger. He used to work at a couple of record stores here in town, so he kind of knows all sorts of unusual places to get music in, and kind of out of the way record companies. So there was a couple of things I bought just because they looked interesting, this being one of them. I guess Embryo, Africa. I guess it's a band called Embryo, originally released in 1992, maybe a late entry. Like the name implies, the Munich group not only draws influence from the continent to their south, but even employs an African percussion ensemble on many tracks. A hypnotic and beautiful affair reissued on LP for the first time since its original release. Comes with the CD version of the album too. Listened to a little bit of it yesterday. Sounds very cool. Looking forward to hearing more of that one. And what you might be hearing in the background, I'm not sure how well it's picking up, is this Criminale Volume 3 Colpo Gobbo, Italian psychedelic library drama. I was looking up this record label. There's 4 volumes of this Criminale series. With incredible cover art like this. So it's basically Italian library music, which library music, if you know, is something that's recorded just specifically for the use in movies and television shows. There was a lot of library companies throughout the years in North America and overseas that just had stockpiles of just albums. Usually themed albums. So this company is Penny Records. When I was looking it up on Forced Exposure, it came up as Pretty Penny Records, but I think Forced Exposure had like 15 albums from this record label. I'd love to get the others in this series. I guess the newer editions of this that have just come out this year. Each of the volumes comes like this one with the CD version of the album too. But it's fantastic so far. I really love Italian soundtrack music, period. But this one has a real nice kind of vibe to it. And then finally, one of my all-time favorites, another thing that was reissued in limited numbers too. I had it on CDR for the longest time. It wasn't available on CD. and this is a woman that goes by the name Annette Peacock. With her, I think it's her first kind of major record label released. Pardon me, sorry, but I think she had something before as well that maybe was more of like a demos thing. And it's called I'm the One. And it's an incredible record for many reasons. This one was 1971. She was probably in her mid-20s, I'm guessing. She got introduced, she knew Paul, she was married to Paul Bley, I believe, and kind of associated with a lot of jazz musicians. She met Bob Moog, and he introduced her to the Moog synthesizer, and she kind of used that to add kind of flourishes to this incredible jazzy type of backdrops. She used it especially on this album on her vocals, which she kind of dropped later on. I think her next album, she ended up going to school after this album, a music school, so her next album I think wasn't until 1978 possibly, so like 7 years later. Apparently David Bowie was a big fan of Annette's, and I think one of the stories they tell in the liner notes here is that there was one occasion where she kicked him out of a session he was going to play on, I think was the backstory. She kicked him out of it and she just used session players. Notoriously, he wanted her to play on a couple of his albums and she said no each time. But as soon as this was released, he was so blown away by her that he asked the record company for a copy of this, and he ended up playing it for everybody that he could and kind of sang its praises. And there's a song, so there she is there. Let me pull these out here. So in the, again, like a nice little booklet, let's see. In 1999, Bowie still had Annette on his mind. The coda of his Something in the Air from the Hours album cribs the chord sequence of the similarly structured I'm the One, and even winks at its blueprint via the use of ring-modulated vocals throughout. So if you are interested in any of this, have a listen to Annette Peacock's I'm the One, and then afterwards listen to this Something in the Air by David Bowie, which was recorded in 1999 versus 1971. I listened to it last night, and it's pretty incredible, the influence that clearly he took from that song. The Peacock song is just an incredible piece of music. The first time I heard it, it was one of those things I wasn't sure if it was like a Kid Koala or a DJ Qbert or something manipulating an old record and kind of mixing a couple of different sources together. When I found out it was all done by this one woman, just blew my mind for 1971. Really incredible album. I can't recommend it enough. Even just check it out, like I said, on YouTube. I'm sure that I'm the One is up there somewhere. So nothing colored on this vinyl or anything too, but a limited edition. This looks like 335 out of 1,000, and I think it was 2012. Yeah, 2012. Future Days Recordings and Light in the Attic Records. And Light in the Attic Records is a place kind of renowned for putting out all sorts of fantastic music. There you go. Thanks very much for watching, everybody, and we'll talk to you later.